A player built for open grass is about to meet a coach obsessed with controlled space. That is the tension around Mykhailo Mudryk and Xabi Alonso's Chelsea. The gift everyone can see is speed. The problem is where that speed is allowed to live. Mudryk's most convincing attacking moments have usually looked like a release valve. The pitch stretches, the defensive line turns, and suddenly his first 3 strides change the geometry of the attack. Premier League tracking on his Chelsea debut clocked him at 36.63 kilometers per hour. By season's end, that ranked 3rd fastest in the league. The league's own scouting also framed his Shakhtar Champions League impact through fast breaks, runs beyond fullbacks, shots in transition, and attacks that stop being patient the moment space appears. But Alonso's football does not begin with the open field. At Leverkusen, the signature was control, clear occupation of lanes, defenders positioned for the next transition before the ball was lost, and pressing that arrived as a chain rather than a solo chase. In that kind of team, the winger is not just an outlet. He is also a reference point for the block. So the question changes. Can Mudryk start wide without disconnecting the fullback behind him? Can he jump to press without opening the pass inside? Can he recover into the line when Chelsea lose the ball, then still be sharp enough to sprint when the regain comes? Those are not cosmetic details. They decide whether his speed becomes a weapon Chelsea can repeat, or a bet the rest of the structure has to ensure. This is why judging him as a traditional touchline winger is too simple. A touchline winger can wait for isolation. An Alonso winger may have to wait in the correct lane, press from the correct angle, and arrive only when the move has made his run logical. The stopwatch is not only for the sprint. It is for the first touch, the final ball, and the decision before the run even starts. If Chelsea can build those situations deliberately, Mudryk gives them something rare, vertical threat without abandoning possession. If they cannot, the same pace becomes unstable, pulling the team away from the very control Alonso would be trying to install. That leaves the real design problem, not whether Mudryk is fast enough, but which role makes his speed useful and what Chelsea must change around him to make that role survive. That is the problem Chelsea have to solve, not whether Mudryk looks dangerous in open grass but which version of him can live inside Alonso's structure. There are 3 templates worth testing. The first is the cleanest, high on the left, almost touching the line, forcing the opposing fullback to respect the sprint behind. If he pins that defender, the reward is not only his own 1v1. It is the space he opens inside. Chelsea's 8s and central forwards can receive between lines because the back 4 has been stretched horizontally and vertically. In that version, Mudryk is less a build-up conductor than a runway. His job is to hold width, attack depth, and make the next defender hesitate. But the hinge is rest defense. Push him high, and Chelsea must decide who covers the space behind the left side when possession turns over. Alonso's teams have often protected attacks with careful counterpressing positions and a back line ready to squeeze. A winger who is late to the first press can turn an attacking shape into an exposed channel. That is why the second template is tempting but dangerous. As a wingback or a deeper wide player, Mudryk's speed could still carry the ball from deep and attack the outside lane. But the role asks more questions per minute. When does he jump? When does he hold? When does he pass inside instead of running? When does he protect the far post line? This is where talent becomes reliability. A wingback in an Alonso system is not just a wide attacker with a longer starting point. He is part winger, part fullback, part midfielder, and part emergency defender. If the habits are loose, the whole side pays. The third template may be the most realistic short-term fit, impact substitute. Late games create different geometry. Tired fullbacks defend bigger spaces. Midfields lose pressure on the pass. One clean release into the left channel can matter more than 90 minutes of controlled circulation. That role would reduce the burden of managing every phase while still exaggerating Mudryk's biggest weapon. So the verdict is conditional, not cautious for its own sake. Mudryk can fit Alonso's Chelsea if the instructions are narrow enough to make his decisions repeatable. Sprint when the trigger appears, hold when the team needs balance, press when the trap is set. Space, discipline, timing. If Chelsea can give him those three words as a role, his speed becomes structure. If they cannot, it remains just speed.